We'll continue on the subject of kashrus achila. Today we're going to talk about pas Yisrael, pas akim, pas palter, and then behemshich will come bishul akim, because bishul akim and pas akim has different halachas. Bishul akim has a kula and a chumrah, and pas as a kula and a chumrah, as we're going to see soon in the halachas. Aber akaponom, what is it? Pas Yisrael means a bread, which we're going to see. Bread is not only bread; it's cookies, it's pretzels, and other things, which was baked when a yid had something to do with the bishul. Not necessarily he has to bake it mamash, the whole thing, as we're going to see. But akaponim, he has to have shaychas in the bishul. Pas akim means a bread which is goy baked. He did the baking. Pas palter is a third geder. That's called pas from a baker. Pas akim means a goy in his house. He baked a bread, a challah, a bagel, and a yid takes it from him. That's called pas akim. When there's a bakery, a goyish bakery who bakes, that's a business, that's called pas palter, and it has all those things is negai lalucha. The halachas which we're going to speak this today, which is again pas Yisrael, pas akim, is the halacha in Yeredaya Siman Kif Yid Beis. That's the Siman of pas akim. Now, the Gemara Masechtas, the Mishnah Masechtas of Zurah tells us that the Isser of pas akim is one of the 18 Gezeires. What is the 18 Gezeires? As over here, a lot of people learn Masechtas Shabbos because they were a part of Teres Chaim. So in Masechtas Shabbos, Daf Yud Gimel Amud Beis, the Gemara tells us that Ba'aliyas in the what is it called, the attic of Reb Chananya ben Cheskia ben Guren, there was a central rabbinical gathering, and they made Gezeires. Ruby by Shama Abbas Hillel. There was a vote, and the majority was from by Shammai, and therefore they made a lot of Gezeires. The Shammai, as we know, were more machmer as the Beis Hillel, but over there, after they counted the votes, the Beis Shammai had the majority, and the Goyse given 18 Gezeires. Mishnah rechnet those the Gezeires. One of the things which the Gezeires is, what Goyse given al pitom, that means you cannot eat bakery stuff, which is bread, which I mentioned it, and I'm going to mention it again. We shouldn't have a mistake. Bread does not mean bread, just a slice of bread. Bread means anything which has to do with flour, as you're going to see. What goes to give in of shamnon, you cannot eat any, you cannot eat any oil from a goy. You cannot eat yayin from a goy. And you cannot eat cooked things from a goy. A lot of things which the Gemara rechnet those, was ik the Gezeire. One of the things is al pitom. Now Shaiman was also a Gezeire. Once upon a time, you couldn't eat oil which a goy made. But Chazal saw that it's impossible. But you can't anführen. It's nicht kabel geworden. Therefore, Rebbe took off the Isser. So oil you couldn't eat from a goy. Even all these things we are talking about is when we know for sure there's no non-kosher ingredients. That's pashtas. We are talking even when it's kosher ingredients. Since it is oil from a goy, there was a Isser not to eat. Then the Rebbe saw that people cannot say and therefore they took it off, and you can eat shemen from a goy.
When you say pas, it's a ma'aser shia.
Yeah.
When you say shemen, it means if a goy
make
crushed olives,
crushed olives. Yeah. Shemen means they make olive oil, it's a problem.
Even if you're
standing and seeing everything, that's correct. Then they took off this gezeira of shemen. Why did they do the gezaira? The Gemara sagt das so. Gosdri, the kids said Vurim is so. Rashi says, why hat man gemacht the gezaira? Shlo yahai Yisrael rugel eitzel goy. A Yid should not be eating by a non-Jewish family because they might give him non-kosher food to eat. Therefore, man gemacht the gezaira, don't eat by goyim because you never know. Once they're going to throw in something which is non-kosher, and they must ask non-kosher things. Toysus Dingtzach disagree with Rasha and doesn't want to learn like Rasha that the problem is B'Shem Duver Tumah. And Toysus says B'Shem Chasnas. It's a problem B'Shem Chasnas because the Chazal did not want that Yidden should Chaz v'Sholem come to be Chasna to take marry of intermarriage. Chazal did not want to make intermarriage. What is the difference of the two Tamam? According to Rasha Duver Tumah means as if I stand over there and I see that everything is kosher, there's not a problem. According to Tosfos, even if you know 100% is kosher, no ingredients, everything is fine, then Alpha Pekan, it's also B'Shem Chasnas. In the Zohar Paskin, the Rambam, Rav Rishonim, the Rambam, the Heintige Baal Lula, in Hilchis Bechulas Asiras, zug the Rambam like this, quote, V'yesham devur machayim, there's other things, erechetos, things which is Aser. The Rambam said there's other things which also Osri Chazal made put on a Iser. Although that menatoira, there's no reason, it's kosher. It's not dover toma. Why? In order a Yid with a goy should have no shayches. A Yid should be meruchak min a goy. Achlo is arvi Yisroel. A Yid should not come to get mixed together, and then it will come to intermarriage. You cannot drink with them. That means this is people have to know. Even if you have wine, which is mavushal, it's not a problem for yain. You cannot drink with a goy yain. It's a iser. Even it's kosher. Same will go also, as we're gonna hopefully come to that once. Beer is the halacha that, but the beer, if most beer, it's not a problem, kashas, except if we know there's a problem. Today there are some issues with, I think, with one or two companies, which we gave out some, this, but more or less, beer, you can eat without a hechsher, because all the beer are kosher, zukt over the shechanurach, you cannot drink it in a bar. You could buy from the bar and take it out, you cannot drink it in a bar. Als wegen der Sachen, was man geassen, als B'Shem Chasnas. Then the Ram was B'Shem Pitom, the bread, also Bishel, their food, what they make. Even in a place where you're not a problem of kashrus is the ingredients, all is fine, it's usar. And this is the way how the Shechanurach passes, like the Rambam, like the Tosfos, that the problem is not because we are afraid there was not kosher ingredients, it is because Chazal wanted to have a division, a Yid mit a goy shayches. What? Even a kosher restaurant, yeah. As when we get to that, it could be, yeah. A Yid owns it is even worse than a go owns it. We're going to get to that. The Chachmas Udam gives Pashat very nice clarity in the words. And here he says like this. Iser pas nochri is lahavdl oisuni menu amim betachlis havdl. The reason is we wanted to have a division of Yid mit Agoy, have no shayches, betachlis havdl. Klaishen arav v'nargel im asmayim mum. We shouldn't have contact with him. Well, we eat together. That is a thing which makes a kirva das. V'shalidai zeh yimshich yalavubas v'yikri v'yidatem v'yivoy lizners il eschat nimun. Ikmoish ire ba'arvas moyev. As we see in the Arbas Moyev, it's very easy for a person to get close when it comes to eating. As we know, what does mean? That's one of the reasons was Chassidim used to say, the Mustagim used to ask, why macht man eigentlich verbrenges bei Chassidim? And the answer was, Mekarav zan am snag Chassidus is lav afke malein Chassidus. We machen a verbrengen, gedoyle legime. The food eating together has a gewaltige so to speak attraction, a gewaltige kirvadas, and therefore is it to eat out mit a goy. Poshet bechlal in the poskim haben das Hayid allein mit a goy, Hayid mit a goy per Rar eigentlich zusammen noch eine. Das ist ein extra Luchs mit sein. B'mayla ham bui chachumim, the mere a geder, ja, bui chachumim gemacht a geder, Ashmire laharchiges udem en avayre. In Mavdel zan between the Yid and a Goy. Zukt like it's here noch the steht so sich nodig. In a filla a person which doesn't have children. If you have a monk or you have a priest which they don't marry. So they don't have children. Afi piken, the Shach bringt das herupoch, das ist guten dalat. Afi piken is do iser. Although I'm not afraid that you're going to marry with him or with his daughter, is a Sache mit der weggestellt, da jeden mit Goyim essen nicht zusammen, because then we're going to come close and it's going to become a problem of intermarriage. So the Indian of Pas in Bishul Akim is a gura größte chimetige Sache. Why? As we see, because Chazal haben gewollt, weil es alle wie Goyim will mit dem Asaim. Once you get close, you deal with them, and you get friendly with them, weil es alle wie Goyim, as we say in Tillam, will mit dem Asaim. So therefore, Chazal haben weggestellt, eine ganze Bunch Sachen, and as the Lucian, is die steht in the Ben Ish Chai, sucht me seht, we see, in the Torah tells us that, v'chaltim zivchu, ja, so, me kijkt an the Pusik dort, es steht in Devurim, steht dort, v'chaltim zivchu, in the Seifer Devurim, v'chaltim zivchu, v'lois es Chattenbaum, the Russian Pusik is so, v'lois es Chattenbaum, lois sitan libnoi, evito losikich lebinchu, ki yusir es binchu macharechu, because your child is gonna fry out, your child. He's gonna call you, you're gonna eat mazivcho, that means you're gonna start eating with them. Then what's gonna happen? Then you're gonna take their daughters, you're gonna fry out. It's the Torah Beit Zimzukchan, then the Kida, as v'chaltim mazivcho, that's a part, a stage, how you get to the Indian of come to this. And therefore, the Ben Ish Chai took a bisschen andere delusion, that he says, therefore, we have a passage in the Torah which says, Hein Yishkoin, Lewudet Yishkoin im Agoyim Reis Chashev, so wegen dem haben Chazal weggestellt, all the Gemine Geseires, in order that the Chazal should restrict him into intermarriage. And it's interesting, a große Heilig, with Amerikaner Judentum, which is today's day almost 60% intermarriage, hat sich umgehoben mit dem, coming friends, in colleges, or eating together, and going parties together. Party, even mit der Goy party nicht together, even mit der Goy arbeit nicht, spielt nicht zusammen. It is a thing which you gotta take a division. And therefore, Chazal made so much Geseires, because the Gemurah rechtos, amad Goy ze gewei Shem mishim Yainem mishim Pitam. It's a Geseire of Geseire, after became, because the end game, we are afraid of the end game, as met Kim and the intermarriage. Fine. So now let's go a little bit in the halachas. As since it's weiß mit der Nikidus hat Wurim is, as man geasset pitam fin agoy.
If once it's past its road, you can eat together with the guy.
The what?
Bread that's past its road.
Yeah.
You can eat together with the guy. Not one.
Is du extra lucha, as even the guys nicht essen zusammen. Das ist extra Adin, was hat nicht gescheichs mit dem. Aber wir können essen, der Pass. Eating together, one of the mentioned, is do extra problem. So therefore, so the Chaibik mentioned, you have to go out, eat out with clients. You know, you have to go out in clients. I think you should have another one. So Nisham knows two Menschen, eine.
Eating is a problem one-on-one, but if there's three people...
Yeah, in Siskusher is a Shukan problem. Yeah. Alpha Piket.
Drinking does make them family people...
Auch nicht. The drinking is Vane, do I drink with Goy wine, and Shaycher is do I where we are. In the place where you are.
Wine does make a difference how many people.
9. Wine, yeah. Okay, but this is Luchas, was gewoon een rang van de Argaf, dus niet de Ikere Kidde. Fine. It's the Prima Gudem writes, in Sif Sirdat, Sif Guten Beis, that don't think that the whole thing is because Vazuni Achra Lekem Achayrim, as only Akim means only Oivid Avoid Zura. We call them Akim Oivid Zura, but it's even for a person which is not Oivid Avoid Zura, it's still do a Iser of Essen der Pitam. What's doing with Pas of a mummer? What's doing with a mummer, but a Jewish person, but he's a mummer, if you can read this Pas, is Lamas, the Pischechiva in Sif Kuden Aleph brings down at Feres LaMoshe, the famous Feres LaMoshe, from Afriediger. He writes it's not a problem. Because the whole Isser of eating with a goy is Shemet is Chatnem, but you're going to marry off with their children. Sinishdua is it to take a mummer's daughter for a shnir, or a daughter's son for a Adam, if it's from. So, what's the problem if it's Chatnem? So therefore it says, a mummer, Haman is a problem, and you could eat from a mummer's pass. Also is ook the Tveres Lamoisha. But a bunch of Chroinim disagree with him. This is the Bashan Roof, the big Michael in Dingzig with him. In Chivas, Schalig Bai Simmer Saman Raishamach Bai, the Kitzish Chanurach, with all a lot of other poiskim disagree with him. And ze zoeken Teufel Hachmir, weil Sof Kosof, we know, the Chazal haben weggestellt, as Mummer is kegoy lechol teure killer, and as the Alter Rebbe explains it in El Geschieter Siman Aleph, Mummer has it in kol teure killer, kegoy, so automatically, is a goy. My love is a goy, is dua Isser. Is Lamase, the Moshe Feinstein, is Machria in his Shiva, he has a Shiva is Moshe, and he makes a chilik. He says, if a person has Tinnik Shenishba, okay, then we could say, then Sof Kosof, because we know the famous, the Chazanish, which used to say, and basically, ich darf schon kommen, Chazanish, in alle Chassidim haben das gewiss, as Tinnik Shenishba geht nicht rein into the Geder of a mummer, because then the Shenishba by Nagoim, they don't know. If they would have known, they'll come back. So therefore, they have different halachas. But Al Kippur, Mamayla, Zukter Moshe, when is a Tinnik Shenishba, as we is Michael, but Tinnik Shenishba, a lot of other things, we could be Michael of a pass. But if it's a Yid, a from a Yid, which fried out, then must those guys, then must the holidays on my Michael's hand. Remember means the person is fried, becomes fried. Machal Shabbos b'Faresia. Machal Shabbos. Is du v'zal Machal Shabbos b'Faresia, geht around the gate? Aber ja, Machal Shabbos b'Faresia. Du what? Machal Shabbos b'Faresia, geht es around the gate, ja. A kapunem einer, was again frem, is er Moshe ocht maske, mas auf der Fall, das ist der Mummer, und auf der Fall, man macht mal wieder Beschanruf mit alle anderen Chroinem, ihm soll sich nicht verlassen, ihm soll nicht nützen, sein, dus. But again, es gibt einmal ein Schlag, wenn ich kennen, man hat sich kein Breire, hat man vor, das wäre es der Moshe, was will tanen, als es geht nicht an der Geder. Okay. Now, which meaning hat man geassert? Is steigt nicht genurig, what is considered passes mit geassert? Only pas, only cake or which comes from flour from the Chayshis Haminim. Has to be flour from the 5 grains. That's called pas. All other things is not considered pas. For instance, you have pas, which is made from rice cake. You have soy. You have all kind of things, baked cookies, which is made from soy. You have made from coconut. Anything which is not from the 5 grains does not go into the gather of pas. It's a guy ishtaran in the gather. In what gather does it go? Goes into the gather. Sometimes it will go into the gather of bishul. Now, lemasa is azoy. A lot of things which does not go into the gather of pas will go into the gather of bishul, but has to be ba'oifem as is a inyan for a bishul. If it is ba'oifem for inyan for baking, is a hafiyah. Kimtos, as, if it's oil, let me start 1 minute before. As I mentioned before, there are a chimra and a killer in pas, and there's a killer and a chimra in bishul akim. What is the killer and the chimra of bishul akim? Let's start from there. Bishul akim is, the killer is that if it's eine oile shilachem nuchma, as we're going to elaborate, Mr. Shem, future shiurim, if it's eine oile shilachem menuchem, if it's not the food that goes on to shilachem menuchem, which in our terms means it's not a food which you're going to serve by a lavish meal, a chasana meal, a fancy meal. If it's not such a food, you're not going to give it, it's a pastish dorten, then it's not a problem, even if you cannot eat it when it's raw. That's one killer. Second killer is that if it is oil shechem menuchem, but you eat it raw. You can eat it also when it's raw, so there's no bishul akim. We're gonna, again, remember these 2 things, we're gonna get to it, when we talked about bishul akim. That's the kula, which has the kula. There was the chimra, there's no such thing as paspalta, there's no such thing as the heter which you have by pas, for companies, chedoima, bepashtas, b'mayla, kimtos as, so takir with the chimra. What is the kula chimra in pas? The kula is, as we're gonna just see in a minute, palter. Anu gather, palter, if it's a bakery, it's not a goy personally at home, it's a bakery, hat man chazal mater gewinnt, a gewisse matzuvim, as we're going to get to the lochas. The chimre is that even if it's not oil shechem menuchim. If you have you made a cake from the 5 grains, and it's not oil shechem menuchim, you won't say it about a fagit tzachasana. Was by bishul akim, it will be a kula. You could eat it. By pas akim is no such a kula. So b'mayla kimtos, when you have oires or whatever, all the other things, is doesn't go into the gather of pas akim. In my mind of name, it's not a problem. So when it comes to rice cake, when it comes to, let's say, cookies which is made from coconut or from soy, it's not a problem for pasakim. So it has to be only from the 5 grains, and then is azach was we can was machmar. Oh, but about came to the OU to Minimum. We'll get to that. Why is it that basically if it's not from the 5 grains, is the Terzuv, the Shechanur Shtei Delusion, eine megay der Pass, and the Terzuv explains it, because what is the whole chashash that a goy will invite you to eat, and you don't invite someone on soy cake. You don't invite someone on coconut cake or on you invite someone on a cake, on a regular cake. So therefore, am chazal nish gaser. So darf man gedenken, as if it's not from the 5 grains, it's not a problem. Now again, as I mentioned, it has no different if you have children or the goy has children. Even a goy which will never have children. He's a monk, he's a priest, whatever. So I do the iser, weil der Inyan hat man gewollt. Chazal haben mich gewollt, man soll zicken mit sich Chassanas. Lechilki de Wurem, also die Terezuf Klur, Chazal didn't make a difference. He has children you cannot eat, he doesn't have children you can eat. Chazal said everything is user. And the Shach gives explanation, because if he doesn't have children, you're going to get close to him, and his neighbor's children you'll be befriended also, and therefore you're going to marry off. So, Mameile, there's nicht kein Heter bis in Sommer. What? Steht nicht zusammen, klar. Der steht nicht schlimm mit dem Meister. Now, Issa Pas Akim goes on the Etzem Zach. That means once it became Pas Akim, although you bought it in a kosher store, it's still Pas Akim. Sie macht es nicht, weil the Etzem Zach geworden ist. Even though you buy it now from a, it's not like Sheicher. Remember before? Beer, you cannot eat in the bar, but you can take it out and eat it. It's not like bar. This is Takes Iveta Chefze Shalisser, and once it is baked, as we're going to see, it's totally out from the baking. It has everything to do with baking. That means if you have a goy invites you to eat by him in his house, and he bought it mit achsima, schleichesumas, whatever, he bought it from a kosher bakery, it's nicht kein Problem für Pasaki. It's not, it's nicht kein Pasaki, weil it's also who baked it, not who owns it. It's totally who baked it. It's not like, when it comes to Tfilas Kailam, even if a Yid made it and went through a goy owned it, then hab's the problem. Even if you buy it, a Yid manufactured it, went through a goy. So therefore, with Abamamar Amizgra, I don't know why I was arangechapt, that sometimes you buy this, what is it called, the red ones, berry crackers. So it says that you don't need to be toiveled, but if you buy it in a goyish store, you have an issue.
They put the paper.
The what?
The OK made the run. They put the paper inside saying needs tefillah, not supervised by the OK.
Oh,
They put stickers on the master.
Okay.
Huh?
Yeah, but if it goes through a goyish store, then you loses you have the problem with it.
Even that ownership has to have.
Even have hechsher. If you bought it for a Jew, it's fine.
No, because they sometimes they have a Jew put on the machine or whatever they do.
No, you don't have to put it on. It has to be a kaila. No. If you have a kaila which a Jew made, and it goes a goyish company buys it off, and they sell it in their store, even if it's sealed, that's no shaykhs. There are in the latest Oris rules. If you read the last 2-3 Oris rules, there is one roof which wanted to come up with this idea that if it's sealed, then so he wanted, but everybody is against it. It's If you
buy it from a publicly held company.
From a what?
A publicly held company.
No, why
It
not?
doesn't have a single owner.
Okay, no, why not? Something else, but I'm talking why not, which store?
The owners of the
What?
Maybe one of the owners of the
Why is this? You know what?
The
You know, so it's a ganze problem. See, public own store is pshat hayid is a shitov oder hat nur interest. Es ist auch da Mechzitzgang mit der Dos. Es ist extra schade. Aber ich will
It says, if you bought it by a Yiddish store,
Oh.
it doesn't need filler.
Oh,
If
steht-
you go over there, you see the
Oh,
knives over there.
this is how it should say. If you bought it by Yiddish store, then it's okay. Aber noch einmal, that's not our shir. It's a verkrochen. Okay, so now we came to the conclusion. Eine Sache, man darf gedenken, als Pas Chazal haben geassert, Pas Akim, Pas von der Goy haben geassert. Okay, now since we know as Shalalechem Yichye Udam, it's a staple item. Bread is such an important item. Also wie der Pussy sucht Shalalechem Yichye Udam, aber Akapun in the Matthias haben wir weiß, dass people bread is the thing which we have to have. Most of Klal Yisrael could not go with this Gezaira. This Gezaira of Pas Akim is a Gezaira which Klal Yisrael could not take. It didn't take root in Klal Yisrael. So Loin is Pashat. And therefore Chazal made some leniency, since it's Chaya Nefesh, that we could be some lenient as we're going to speak now. Now, Toysves in Medayik, how do we see Takas is nicht das Kabel geworden? Because the Gemara tells us a story in Avodah Zura that Reb Simnua, after Reb Yida, as I mentioned before, Reb Yida, the Chazal assert, the Chumam assert to eat oil from a goy. Rebbe came, Rebbe by Dinoi took off this Isser. Why? Because you see, Kalisrul cannot, it's a thing which you cannot survive with that, and he took it off. So Reb Simnua, so to speak, teased Rebbe, and he said for Rebbe, so next, what comes next? Pas Yisroel, because also a thing which cannot be used, and most people do not use it. So Zuk Toys von Du Zeitman, that even Pas Yisroel, this Gezaira did not take deep roots in Klal Yisroel, and therefore, es ist nicht das Kabel geworden. B'mayla, and so is it noch in Yerushalmi says the Lush, the Riv brings it down in Yerushalmi, a Pas Akim is Halucha Shel Imam. So Halucha Shel Imam, it's interesting, the Alter Rebbe, we just learned it in the Alter Rebbe, Sima Kiv Samaches, and Itzik pointed it out on the halacha chat that when we learned that thief, our Alter Rebbe Zuk, Isser Kal. Usar by Isser Kal. So b'mayla, it didn't take root, and it's such a staple item which people have to have bread. So therefore, Ham Chazal aveg like gewisse kulas that we could use when it comes to Pas. That's Mitzad Halucha. Before we go ahead, I just want to make clarify, as the Arizal writes in Tama Mrs. Parshas Aikev, very stark against B. Michael and Pas Akim. As we know, that's why Chassidim are so strongly against any kula of Pas Akim. We're not going to eat, even on an airplane, when you don't have bread, because that's the Pas Akim. And the Arizal, the Kavachai brings down, even when it's a sufuk, even then we're machmar. So we have to gedenk far, megait vater, are we going to go weiter, it's the coolest, I want to bring on the coolest, and at least we should understand, at least the OU policy, we should understand some Litvische tres days as an Shroch for him, but Akapurim, some Litvische which are still Michael, we're going to see what's going on with this halacha, the went to be Michael. So again, the Baltan Zeimer are such a big problem not to have bread, kosher bread, pas nachem, and not in every dorf, not in every town, not in every kfar you had a Jewish baker. So therefore, Chazal matter given pas palter. Now what's pas palter? As I mentioned when I said Dakdoma, pas palter means a baker. That means if a guy baked at home a challah, a bread, and gives it for you, it's usher. That's called pas balabais. A baker means he bakes it to sell. Now, if this baker happened to be baked in his house bread for himself, and he gives it for the Yid, or the Yid asks him, he ran out of bread, it's called bas balabas, because he didn't make it to sell. And if you have a balabas, your neighbor, which is not a bakery, but he decided this week, I'm going to bake and sell sourdough in Kingston kosher, the guy around the gate from Palter. That means, Palter means, not if he's a baker or if he's a, Palter means, for what does he do? Does he do it for the tzibur, for selling it, or does he do it for himself. Now, a palter could be a balabais, and a balabais could be a palter. What's the gader? Why take a palter that were more lenient? Because I'm going to say, if a palter is usig b'malachto, he's a baker, he's busy, schlepping dough and making dough. And therefore, a kleinere chashash, as a tziki to chasanas, to closeness, because he's when you're going to start talking for a bakery, start talking with the baker, and then you keep him up and say, get out, you have a job to do, I need to make so therefore, Chazal gesucht, a palter can be Michael sein. Gesucht aber the Machaber, that the heter of paspalter, a goy, is only if there isn't a goyish baker, a Yiddish bakery. If in town there is a Yiddish bakery, although the other guy is cheaper, is nicht an heter from pas akim. Paspalter, let's call it paspalter, because pas akim is balabais is user. It's nicht the heter. So therefore, so is the Machaber. If it is, you don't have a Yiddish bakery, then you can be lenient, was is a shasat chak. The Remu goes a little bit more lenient. The Remu zogt, even if you do a palter shel Yisrael, afa piken, is kema Michael Zahn. Then the kid says what it is, based on what they saw the Bachloikes, lo the Remu, pshat, the Balzinish is kabel geworden, so to speak, but Meile is begonnen with the Gezaire, Kili. The Mechaber, the Gezaire do, no Chazal allein, Homan is gemacht more lenient, mas kim's a paspalter. So the Mechaber says only if you don't have any Yid which bakes, then you could buy from a paspalter. The Remu says even when you have, then you could also be a Michael. Lamaase, zug de Shach, as yeshli zuara, man soll nicht nehmen für eine paspalter, zug de Shach schön. I befragt es heis in my chiva, the Alter Rebbe bringt es herup in Simatu Fresh Gimel, which is heis in my chiva, says in my chiva, Philip Davis and a Makilam, it says in my chiva you should be more machmer, because as man was his Yom Adin, in Mamaila, machmer zan demels. Interesting, the Alter Rebbe like see ochet in Hilchos Shabbos. This two fresh gimel is Roxim Kippurim. In Hilchos Shabbos the Alter Rebbe ochet. The Kuvet Shabbos yon, even the people who are Michael to eat paspalter Shabbos in Yontav zomen machmer zan. Kuvet Shabbos in Yontav am zalubm was mit allein gemacht, und nicht was man gekauft für a bakery. Now again, as I mentioned before, this is only a palter. If it is mitzad a balabos, then is wieder the Gezaire für Chasnas. Man ist immer schon an a Kesher. And as I mentioned before also, if the palter invites you by him in his house to eat, is auch pas balabais, auch problem. It has to be the bakery or a balabais. Balabais is user, even if he might be a baker, and palter is mitter, yeah, even if it's a balabus, was is in palter.
Someone makes extra bread and decides later to sell it. Does it make
He made it not to sell?
He did originally his
heißt es Bas Balabais. Heißt Bas Balabais. Chroim redding them, yeah.
How do you trust in this kosher?
Meret Chazaf al mis do a OU. Meret Chazaf certification. What?
What do they do? They just trust the guy who made bread?
Yeah, bread is very simple. Bread is there's not ingredients which go into bread. What things go into bread? Yeah, bread. There's nothing into bread which you have a issue. Oh, but then you have to know what's going on in the bag. That's for sure. That's the first thing. If not, you're eating treifels. But it's not kein Gseide for the Chazul. It's a pain. You have to know. By the way, now on this cheshbon does the OU go the heter? The OU goes the heter as over the Remu. The Remu says that paspalter ma Michael given. So therefore, they give a hechsher. They check the ingredients. That means they make sure it's kosher with the ingredients. But there's a goyish company. I don't care. It's a paspalter. They go like the Remu. The Remu says even when there's a pas Yisruel, a palter Yisruel Ochtentown. After they can't come Michael say. So B'maila, this is high policy. It's not high policy. This is high policy for most from the big organization, the national organizations, this other policy. So therefore, it's the starke, but the starke to under killer. So again, from all of the breads or pretzels, which we're going to see what goes into Geder of Pas, you have an issue to buy from the national organizations because of Pas Palter. Now, again, pas is not only a thing which is bread. Pas goes in anything which is made from flour and then it's baked. Or the Lution from the Terezu of Zuktas, anything which is baked stuff that if you are going to, even it's a Mebech Samazonis, but if you are going to eat Kvaya Sida, you're going to eat alle Beitzen, you're going to have to wash, Gaitas Ranegay the pas. That means, don't think pas means bread. It's not bread. Pas means anything which is baked and it goes from the 5 grains, and she is aborim in mazoinas, which we can with them sida. In the shach like tzioch, it has to have tziras pas. Has to be tziras pas. Which the guys are amanitari. So b'mayla kimtos, crackers, pizza, rogelach, what else? Wraps, pancakes. It's interesting. I was looking about pancakes. I was wondering about pancakes. 2 things I had an issue. I want to know if it goes in the gate of pas. Blintzes and pancakes. So, so I saw a guy which gave a cipher on this in Yonam. He says, I asked Reb Shlomo Zalman, and Shlomo Zalman says, I don't know what pancake is. Bring me one. So he writes, I went to Reb Shlomo Zalman with a pancake, and Reb Shlomo Zalman says, yes, they sought a tziris a pas, and says osar. So then I went with a blintzen and said, no, blintzen is. A blintzen is very, very, very thin, and blintzen hat kein pas. But a pancake, since it is, the poskim zugen as turt, that means even if it's a blila raka, it's if it's a sponge cake or alles get around pas. The what?
What percentage flour does it need to be?
What do you mean?
How much flour? Like blintzeh has flour in it.
Yes.
So but it's not pas.
So yeah, some mazonis over. A blintzen is a mazonis.
But see what the word.
Yeah. Verkehrt. But even though it has mazonis, but in such a case, even if you're going to eat shir kviyasida, such has to have a tnai, the shach has to have a tziris pas. Has to look like pas. Like pretzels look like pas. Shlomo Zalman looked at pancake, which makes sense. What's the difference if you have a cake which is so thick or it's a little bit thinner? B'mayla. No. Pasta no. Pasta doesn't, no, because it's not pas. Pas is not pas. It's cooked. It's cooked. Now goes into Geder of Bishul. Again, guys around the other forget from Bishul. Has no Geder of it. That's the reason. It's a different halacha. Again. And it has to be baked. What comes about donuts? Oh, you brought up a very nice thing. What's doing about donuts? Donuts, steht lemaase is so. Donuts is do beikaron, what we can't Michael sagen, as why? Because, well, in a luch you do a ganze Schale, if donuts is pshat, you cook it in a lot of oil. It's not like a pancake, which you a little bit of oil, or a blintzer, but it's deep fried. Deep fried, Zug the Chronim is called Bishel. Deep fried is called Bishel. But Maila, since it's called Bishel, it gets its arose from the gate different pass. So therefore, it's not a problem for pass. Yet, darf man dann sagen, es ist ein Problem für Bishel. Bishel darf man dann sagen, Oile Shechem Menuchem, nicht Oile Shechem Menuchem. Some will say it's not Oile Shechem Menuchem. I don't know. We have to ask today's day Donald Trump. You know, we have a new president. He should give us a lecture. What do you serve by a presidential meal or, but obviously, du hast, in a Sach von unserer Schale, das sind zum Reden bei Bishlakim, geht an den Nikide. Is it a thing which, Oile Shechem Menuchem is not Oile Shechem Menuchem? So, Lamaße Donuts of Ikaron, is du a Sach, was will Michael sagen, was will tan, der Alter Rebbe auch, in Simon Kief Samaches, is mashme dorten, as, even if you are going to eat so much donuts, it's shir kviyasida, is I'm varchun of Berg Samoitzi, in Medavze Geschwashe. So therefore, one second. So therefore, is donuts, a kapunem, gait nicht ran de Geder, again, it's gait ran andere Geder, of Bishlakim. So forget, Bishlakim in a way is harbor, aber so gilles auch. So again, pretzels, you have an issue. You have an issue of pancake, you have an issue of wraps, you have an issue of a lot of things which, cookies, cakes, all these things get around the gate from Pas Hakim. The what? Oh, yes, keeps a very nice shala. Morning cereals. This is a very nice shala. Now the Chassidish Shiurim, as you see, they halt us do bishul. Ich persönlich habe ich in the Sige years ago feel it's not a big deal. Be'iker because of different. First of all, it's not oil. First, let me make sure it's got schon ein bisschen, weil es nicht oil schon genug im Laufen. Aber es nur noch eine Sache. Man muss for instance Cheerios is a Sache which is it's not baked. Cheerios is a construder, if you know what it is. It's construded. Du hast schon wieder am Achleukes. Sie construden heißt a bisschen oder a viel oder nicht. Construder is a machine wo es ist construed. High pressure wo sie klebt zusammen. Es ist hot heat, es ist nicht kein Bake, es geht schon an den Ofen. Es ist ein anderer Weg. Bei Meile, I always say, when it comes to Cheerios, yes, mukim al-hachmer, aber yes, mukim al-hukloch. Andere Wörter, do what? Again, goes out of the problem. Goes out of the problem of Bishlak. Again, it's over. And cornflakes. So cornflakes is sicher nicht kein problem. Why? Because it's not pass. It's not the 5 grains. Corn is just geht ran, is nicht kein pass. And it's and even if you want to say it's Bishul, it's I know Shechamanuchem. So Mamaila, what? That's this is another Sache. Rice is nicht the 5 grains. The only problem which you do have, the only simple what we do have is all this we have checks with the Cheerios. They mean a Sachen, dann hat es the issue. Now again, the Chassidische will machbar sein, mit Ktubel auf Bruch verkehrt. Why not? Also gesagt, I don't think so. Are they? Yeah, hechsher, why not? Was du, nein, because that's a difference. Yeah, fine, weil Siduach Klal is a gita Sach, by the way. As we saw this week Shabbos, that Siduach Klal by the Chassidische, that I'm not going to give in my house any food with ich kann a hechsher. Was der hechsher was man Kind so verstehen. It's a Sach. Everybody knows, yeah. Everybody knows that Coca-Cola, yeah, Coca-Cola, the Cola, ich will nicht sagen andere flavors, weil dem hype sich schon mit der, weißt du, Michelin, aber Coca-Cola weiß jeder einer, yeah, that it's nicht kein issue. Kapunem, wenn es hat OU, lass mich machen klar, wenn es hat OU, das wenn es hoch ist, wenn es wie man, ja, okay, when it has OU. But a lot of Chassidische homes will nicht reinbringen Coca-Cola in Stieb, an das Shabbos-Table. Was hat nicht kein Hechschen? The Kind weiß nicht, dass jetzt verlassen sich auf der OU, im Morgen nicht. Verwusst jetzt, ja, wusste nicht. So once in Monsi, in all Chassidische places now, they bring in Coca-Cola from Ravlando, you know, in Israel there has a heimische Hechsher. Everybody buys Coca-Cola. Es ist nicht dafke wegen dem, weil halt, dass der ist mehr kusch wie Jens. Es ist wegen dem, und es ist eine sehr agite Sache. A Kind weiß, if he doesn't have a heimische Hechsher, weiß nicht was. So you're going to say, my kid has to have OU. But we, all of us, will not rely on OU and everything. Yeah? Also man schon geredet. Man kann sich verlassen auf alle seine Sachen. Weil, again, in Zimmer Chassidim. In Zimmer Alter Emes Chassidim. As I mentioned last time, as the OU kasher by 160 degrees, was the Alter Rebbe halt nicht gekasher. Aber sie halt gewollt kach Polte. Now, noch einmal, kusher ist es? Ja. So man will sich zu verlassen? Ja. In Zimmer Chassidim. In Zimmer Chassidim. So bei Meile, is do as a mizach, you don't make a gate, and that's why I said for Rabbi Mendelssohn, which is a Tita Avoidus HaKodesh, es ist Taka Kusha, was in the Pepsi company, aber Mekan al-Habo, you have to buy something which has a rogue like the OU. A Kind darf nicht wissen, es ist Kusha, es hat nicht kein Hechscher, es hat nur a K, which a K means $200 fine, that's about it. And ich mag es erst, Kinder verstehen nicht die Sachen. And that's why, once we start to compromise an Scheirem, der Kind weiß nicht was. Wegen dem, a größer Heilig von unserer Oilem allein. Essen, OU sagt, der OU ist okay. Man hat sich nicht, als OU, in seinem nicht kein OU, you know, aber noch mal, ich bin verfuhr, vorhin bin ich reingefuhren, weil die ist, weil wir einen Dorf gebringt, hab's an Neues. Oh, bei Meile, schraub, wo ist jetzt kaufen, Karl-Lex? Karl-Lex hat nicht kein Hechscher. So hat der Efscher OU, und Efscher hat das auch nicht. Bei Meile, Kind weiß, alles davon kusher beschließen. So that's why they have the hechsher on it. Aber not necessarily, as davon, was du sagst, nicht alle Ölische Maluchem, ist nicht kein Pass, was ist, Shechnuch schreit klar, if it's not the 5 grains, it's not a problem.
But if you live in Muncie, or
Yeah.
whatever, there's tons of pasta soap everywhere, so why do they eat not pasta soap?
Everybody eats passes. Who doesn't eat passes?
People eat not pasta soap.
Who eats passes? Not that.
What What do you mean? People eat things that are not possible.
Chassidish Yidden?
No, anybody. I'm saying.
What do you mean anybody?
Litvish.
Okay.
But he says that.
Why? Okay, weiter.
Things that are ladabik. You put in the flour just for the texture.
Yeah.
Those things need to be fast to throw.
If you put it in all the dabik, you don't make a mazonis, b'chal.
So some let's say like licorice, those kinds of things which are.
Nein.
So those.
Als passt, nein. Nein. Was ist nicht passt. Es ist nur dabik. Man macht nicht kann, Besen macht man nicht kann. Licorice ist aber chloikes, aber ich amol b'chal. Es ist mazonis, ich schon Häuser gewesen. La Masse ist handhaltig wieder, das ist Schakel.
If it's a shahakel, it doesn't need to be fast to throw.
If it's what?
If it's flour, but it's shahakel, it doesn't need to be.
That means was is ledabik? Was is ledabik? Yeah, es ist kein bake. Es ist strang like a bisschen. So mal sehen noch eine Sache. Noch mal sagen. If you have one second. You have tarif what?
You have a baked product that has flour in it.
Yeah.
But it's not bread.
What makes it bread or not bread?
It doesn't make it just has flour in it. Like it's a.
What does it mean? For instance.
They make like fake chicken patties, soy patties with this flour.
What do you mean chicken patties?
Tuna patties or chicken patties, like burgers. They have to like flour sometimes.
Yeah. No. Now again, do you make it for taste or you make it ledabik? This is what he asks. That must again. Ledabik is nicht kampass. It's an ingredient. It's not. Mach ich kein Mazonis nicht. If it's ledabik, mach ich kein Mazonis. If it's nicht ledabik, mach ich kein Mazonis. Again, you gotta know.
Breaded fish or...
Deze extra look. Deze abachloikes, was zich wel een schlang in de reden. Ik weet het, you touched on a very, very complicated noise. Okay, laat me nou fertig water gaan. Let's go. Wie hat man geassert? A Jewish bakery, which has Goyish workers, and they baked the bread, hat man geassert. Sie hat nicht gehört von Passpalter. It's a Yiddish bakery. And there's no Yid over there. Only Goyim are working over there. Steht in Ishach, also das hat man geassert. Das ist Uster. Why? The whole reason why man geassert Palter is because we don't have an option. The bakery belongs to Goyim. But what should we do? But if you have a bakery which belongs to a Yid, you Yid should put on the fire. You Yid should bake it. Why do you have to have a Goy to do it? So it's nicht nur der Hatter, was man gesucht, als eine Chölle ziehen im Labetboy. Yes, you Chölle ziehen im Labetboy, because it's such a case, all the Yid uns in the fire. So kommt aus, du, eine interessante Sache, a Goyische bakery is much more mitter, was David in der Makilam. Man redet alles, reden jetzt alle von der Makilam, wie a Yiddische bakery, wo es hat Goyische Arbeiter ist. Also ich der Schachklur. Yes, a person has a thing which is not Pas Yisrael, could not sell it for a Goy. When it's a whole, you have a bakery, you have a loaf of bread, and you bought it, and you say, oops, somebody tells you, it's not Pas Yisrael. You cannot take the loaf of bread, sell it for a Goy, before you slice it. You have to slice it. Why? Because this Goy might sell it for a Yid also. And so tzirikim, and it is very, it's the Pas Yisrael, which is User, and it will go around, etwas zukaufen. A Yid hat zukaufen von a Goy. In Mamayla hat mich geassert. Das Schnatzes, haben wir nicht klar, als a Yid kauft nicht von kein Goy sliced bread, wo du sie killi des Simmern, als nicht passt es roh. Mamayla wegen dem, if you slice the bread, you want to sell it like this, sliced bread, then habe ich kein Problem. Ich habe getracht, was ist hand, bis man sagt, when there's a full loaf, which is sliced bread, was du decided to verkaufen. Als der wieder the problem, if you could sell it like this. But if you make some kind of...
No Goyim sells the bread that you sold to them.
Okay, aber ich sag mal, für heute ist es gescheht, das ist gerecht. A lot of our looks we don't have, it's not a practical Sach. Aber man darf wissen the concept. I eat ordered bread from a bakery, and einer sagt, es ist nicht kein Kusher Bakery. Nicht kein Kusher Bakery. What do you do? I have a truckload of, what? Caterer. What should he do? He sells it for a go. It's a waffling garbage. And it happens. You know? What? Nein, even if it's Paspalter, for Davis Machmer. Davis Machmer. Nochmal, allein mal Machmir. Ja, lo du Mechaber, was ist Machmer? Yeah.
So, let's say a Yid who owns a grocery store and there's things which aren't Pas Yisrael in the store. You can't have fish, that's not my way.
It's not Pas Yisrael?
Yiddish is a supermarket that's owned by a Yid.
No.
Yeah. There's Goyish customers coming in.
No. Open bread? Was verkauft er? Kauft Tabak, was ist steif, als sie vermacht, also, this is how they sell it, there's a line to the, ein Mensch leint, das ist.
So then I can also give it.
Das kannst du verkaufen, ein Mensch verkaufen.
Package, I could give it to a guy.
Was? Vermacht er, ja. Er sagt, was sie schreit raus, der Misskick auf der Herrscher, ist was anderes. Aber man hat einen bestellt Bräut. Again, he gave a good example. A caterer or the ganze Mensch Bulkler. And einer sagt, I had a story, I was once sitting by closing, and the real estate broker, a Yiddish lady, a Finnish Kafrima, a Yiddish lady, so wanted to bring, for the oil, but he wanted to bring, so he went, she brought cake, and she tells me, I borrowed a kosher bakery, and ich stehe, ich kicke, ich habe keinen nicht gesehen, it doesn't look Yiddish. Ich habe schon gegessen, I don't like it, schon gegessen. Später frage ich, tell me, where did you buy this cake? It looks so tempting. Where did you buy it? I would like, it says Rackling Bakery. So where is Rackling Bakery? Where is it? So meine gaat zoeken, ze doen Rackling Kosher Bakery. The famous Rackling Kosher. Has a big bakery with a kosher. Zoekt ze maar Rackling Kosher en zoekt maar op zijn adres. Oh, that's Rackling Kosher. Oh, good that you tell me. Oh, okay, thank you. Später moet ik worden, het is geen Kosher Bakery. Grappig. Jetzt kommt man nur eine ganze, huh?
They do have a hush cup. It's not very good what they have.
Who?
They have
Für der Heime, sind die Ski itself.
To what?
I wouldn't eat it, and I give it to someone else.
Das ist a Schale, was ich hab nicht du, aber es ist a Schale, was ist a bekannte Schale. Also ich hab a Sache, was ich esse nicht, weil ich halte, das ist nicht, ja, mag ich es verkaufen oder nicht. Mag ich es gehen für a Zweit, das ist a Schale. Ist a Chroine, wo man schmiss wegen dem. Der Klulum geht da so. Halt ich, als es 100% kusher, immer meile von dem, ich will mein higher standard, dem kann ich es geben. Ich esse es nicht, weil ich will mein higher standard, ich will Eidach Reides, und sommer, nimmt, Jokeruf. Okay. Tomer, ich esse es nicht, weil halt es so außer, wie es kommt, sie passt, halt ich esse es außer, du es nicht gehen für a Zweit. Du es nicht gehen für a Zweit. Die halt es ist außer. Bei Meile, du es nicht gehen für a Zweit.
Okay, see as far as it comes to you.
No.
Can I serve things to your business, you throw and shit to Rama?
Without telling him? Warte nicht, bist du machst.
So,
Ja, warte nicht.
yeah, but Shabbos, yeah, as far as it come to you.
No.
Yeah. You have to tell them, this is Ashkenazi.
Sie wollen dich fragen, das war seine Fremde wie uns alle in den Sachen.
So that's what I'm saying.
Warte, sie können dich fragen Sachen.
Sephardic.
Es war dem gar nicht essen in Sachen von unseren Restaurants. They're not going to eat in our restaurants. Du weißt du viel? In wegen dem Tag in den Restaurants, wo man make VR, schrauben Kusher auf der Schicksbesias. Ja. Exactly, ja. Hemmes. Ach, Chemre ja, aber Stam Chemre ist fein. Ob es ist Kusher bei Eizem, und ich will Machmer sein, kann das Schatz in der Usser, da habe ich kein Problem. Hals hast du Usser, kannst du Machmer sein, jeder mal sagen, wie die Hals hast du Usser? Lass mich noch farten der Rapune Kiddes, because it's getting late and I want to finish this. So what do? You are in a town, you are in Scranton, for instance, which dachte mir, der Bakery ist nicht eine jüdische, es ist eine goyische Bakery, aber ich will jüdische, Lubavitcher Chassidim wohnen dort, und sie will essen Passisruhe. Sucht auf dem, der Shechanurach, a gewaltige Kille, was in Sommer, bei Pass, haben wir a Kille, was ist mehr wie, a viele, man sehen, mit Kiemes ein bisschen, in a way, mehr wie bei Bischlochet. Sucht dem Chaber, if the goy put on the fire, and the Yid put in the baked goods in the oven, or vice versa. The Yid put on the fire, and the goy put it in the oven, it's fine. Even more, the goy put on the oven, the goy put in all the baked stuff in the oven. But the Yid turned on the fire. It was 200 degrees. Yid made it 220. He put on a bigger fire. Nicht nur das, if you have a fire, a matzah bakery, a matzah which is a fire oven, even if you threw in a kissam, one match, which as I had to show in Babishel, but possibly again, as since Balzig when Azam gewaltige Sachen you couldn't survive, haben Chazal gesucht, even if you put it in a match, you throw in a match, as the Shemasaken gewesen, in shoni ju kan pass. So the mechaber. The remo like tea, even if you didn't put it in a match, you just blew on it. You blew on it. So automatically when you blow on a fire, it gets bigger. That's enough. This is the remo moist grain. So over here, even the Svarda will make. Well, the mechaber is clear. If you put it in a kisam, that's good enough. So that's why when you have in a town which you have only a non-kosher baker, and you know the ingredients are fine, then Ayid goes every in the morning, which I know in Scranton, this is what they do. One of the Lubavitch entering a lot, goes in every day to put on the oven. In my mind, it should be passes through. What?
In national, they never turn it off.
If you have such a thing, that's fine.
Yeah, he makes it to the right temperature.
Who makes it?
Whatever.
Yeah, okay.
But they,
If it's 24 hours, I always say Anderson pretzels. Till 10 years ago, Anderson pretzels in Pennsylvania, right next to chocolate company. What is it called? Hershey's. They used to bake 24/7. It had the OU, and so you can pass it through. Because the first time I put it on. Why? Because the Chassidische, they have bags. If you go there, you see bags from all the companies, all the Chassidische Chayrim. So everybody makes by there. Which is no, it's not a problem. It's not chassid, it's kosher. But so the Yid macht sure, he closed the fire, he opened it up. When he used to bake 24/7, he's going to machaya. Everything was passed through. Even the OU was passed through. Because once you put it on, it never goes off. But about 10 years ago, what?
What if it just turned off and they didn't tolerate it, just turn it back on?
Ja, this is an issue. This is a issue. Ob sie macht das Sache. Wegen dem der chassidische Scheire used to turn off the oven and put it on again. Like it da machen wir gewein. Aber das haben gesagt, kann ich nachher so sachshash, is this good? In big companies, something went wrong, and they have to shut off the production. But usually, OU, the man inside protocol, you have to let media for the organization that there was a stop in the work. So do protocols, put it in place, and the greatest companies usually follow the protocol. So there was no problem. But 10 years ago, business wasn't so good. From then, it's only 5-day working. It's only a 5-day working day. So automatisch, you have an issue. So all the pretzels, which I would say 80% of pretzels is made in Anderson, now Yubanga's company, is if it's ever OU, it's not passed through. The Chassidim, when they come, they put on the oven, and then they have their own bags, and as the way it is passed through. So again, whenever any Yid does something in the dus, and noch mehr, es geht wieder noch weiter. And the Mechzitzchik wants the taina, if you have ovens which goes on a timer, if the Yid, like he mentioned, like you mentioned, the Mechzitzchik writes that if you have an oven which is on a timer, and if the Yid puts on the timer, it should open, that's passes through. But he I want every day should, I want every day you should put it on. So then every day you should put it on, because hat ganze Cheshm, will sich verlassen, as der Remo, der Remo sucht, that if a Yid put on the oven, and he baked bread. Goy baked bread. Then the second time, 2 hours later, the Yid put on the oven. And the Goy baked the bread. Third time, the Goy baked bread, what the Yid putting on the oven. Will der Remo Michael sagen, that since noch geblieben waren, it was twice, if I guess, but at that time of ovens. Our ovens is not applicable, because once it's turned off 2 hours, it's cold. But then, you have the ovens which is fire ovens, like the matzah bakeries, it still stays hot. So the remove, about 2 more hat es die Heat umgezogen, ist nicht du the heat from meine will sich nicht verlassen. Aber der Baruch Hashem sucht sich schlossen auf der Remove b'shas el-chak. So the Mechassis getan, although I want to take this heter that with a timer, the heat puts on the timer, it's also good, but I don't want to do it only b'shas el-chak. And only if the heat does it every day. So b'mayla is auch das Sibba, me can sich reize geben. Now, if you have par baked bread, if you have, what?
What's the rule every day? If that's the timer.
What do you mean the timer?
What's the point to have?
You should set the timer.
Every day, but so what's the point of the timer?
You get up at 6 o'clock in the morning to do it.
A day before you set the timer at 6 o'clock in the morning, you should open, then that's fine.
So then next day you're gonna come at what time? Let's see.
Besides what time?
He's asking why do you have to set it every day? A timer goes off at this time, on at this time.
Oh, weil ich will sich verlassen, als ich gemacht habe, Sape Illa. In Handtake, a lot of big companies, the heat puts it on by the, But they tun shugen. A kapunam, jetzt so noch mehr. Even if the Yid, the goy baked the put it in the oven, and the Yid didn't do anything, and it became already brown. As long as you bake it and it's noch moil, you still make it. You have a bread which is par big bread. Yeah. Now, the klulem today's day was this is the klal in like about passisruel. If it is a thing which is already ruel achila, it's baked, or you make it more crunchy, you make it more better, then it's have a problem about passisruel. It's not passisruel. But if it is, you put it in, you still, and the ingredients tell you, in the instructions it tells you should still bake it for 50 minutes, if you still have to bake it about for 50 minutes, that means till now the bakery, what was the goy baked was not baked fully, and therefore is this passori. I'm want to repeat it again because I have constantly this question. People ask me, is par baked? Can I buy it? And it's passisruel. The answer is, if it is par baked, that means you still need 15 minutes to bake, then you could use it. When it's 15. The word is bakery. If you put it in just it should become, 2-3 minutes to refresh it, that means it's finished baking. As good as aufgeteen. So you could, what? You had? No.
Maybe 15 minutes.
Kick. Again, this is after this. Another thing which we have to know when we finish this, as pas akim vid butel barov. Pas akim vid butel barov. That means, if you have if you have a bread, for instance, if you have a bread which got mixed together with other breads, and you don't know which one, it's kosher, but it's pas akim, vid is butel barov. And if you took the ingredients, you take, let's say, a bread, you slice it in small pieces, and you mix it in with other things, and with the old machel, there's rav against it, with the zog butel. And then it's a gebot of a kittach, the gemara is kittach. You could eat kittach from a goy. Kittach used to be some kind of dressing, which was a sharp dressing, and the way how to do it, you used to leave bread, it should become hard, and it should become sour, and you put in other things. What? What? Milk, kittach is milk. That's one of the things. Is sour milk also. It's a recipe which because nobody decided to bring it back, from the old age. Maybe one day somebody wants panos, it's gedai chaparayim before somebody else chaps it over. So kittach abal is the gemara. Kittach you can eat from a goy. How could you eat kittach from a goy? It has bread, passisruel. Dem zug the dort und für bald ist ausgemischt mit andere Sachen. Therefore, it is a thing that you could be Michael. So because it comes to pas akim, pas palter or whatever, afile pas akim, vetes butel fin barav. One final halucha. What?
Moldy bread is drugs, so you can't sell it. You need a license.
Okay. And noch a final thing which ich will sagen, as the Mechaber sucht, if you are on the way and you have nothing what to eat, yeah, and zug the Mechaber, you should, if within the 4 mil, a meal is 80 minutes. If within 72 minutes you're going to have a Yiddish bread, because again the Mechaber the Chmei Machmer, so the Mechaber you have to wait on the way. If you within the next 72 minutes you're going to have kosher bread, you should buy kosher bread.
4 mil or 4 times 24 minutes.
Noch, wisst darauf legen auf Chimras? 72 minutes you can make.
It's on your way, right?
You can make an idea. Wisst Alter Rebbe's 24?
Well,
huh? Was?
Or the shared dollar meal sometimes after I feel 72 minutes.
Okay, mit dem sucht das von andere Bogen, lässt von am Gaber. Noch mal, Bepoil geht keine nicht Michael an. Let me make it clear. Kasem gesehen dass hier geht Michael an auf Essen passt Ruhe auf airplane. Believe me. Aber ich suche es nur, so wissen, als der Gaber allein sucht, as within 2 hours if you should wait. And if you don't have to, it takes more than 72 minutes, you can be Michael. Der muss sucht, man darf nicht warten. Man kann ja. Hostisch makes the Michael sein. Nothing else what to eat, yeah. Yeah. What? It's on the way. Yeah. Aber da kaputt again, Bepoil, weiß ich, sind die Jiden, als bei Essischka Passisruel, Messischka Passpalter, ich habe viel so gesehen, wenn sie schreiben, as kezen afil a problem von timte mal lev amoich. Okay, so normal is avada is in ins machbar sein, im dach machbar sein in wir gehen mit andere Woche, wir gehen mit ein bisschen